welcome to the show with no name. I am joined in the co-host seat with Reni Maitua today and his great mate and longtime friend in John Sutton. I feel weird calling you John, so Sutto for the rest of the show. It just sounds odd. Welcome.
No, thanks for having me.
Reni obviously dragged you in for this one.
Yeah, he's been punishing me for a couple of weeks.
He brushed me twice.
Mate,
He actually brushed you. He didn't brush me.
Oh.
When I said it's Renee's show, he said, "Oh, no."
I'm a busy man.
I spoke to Stacey and she said, "Get John on."
yeah, actually, shout out to Stacey too, because she's given us plenty of ammo for the show as well too.
Oh,
so just to
really?
give you a little
Yeah,
heads up, big advocate to get you on. But where did it all start for you? I mean, football, and you're now in coaching, but we'll just chip away at it all the way through. Footy, juniors, obviously that's how you two met.
Yeah, so my dad is from Maroubra, grew up out there. So my footy journey started out there when I was 5. Played a few years there. Our team folded, unfortunately, and I moved to Kenzo, where I played with Ren's brother Leiden.
The Mighty O's. He
The
saw
Mighty
the
O's.
Kensington Dragons.
Yeah.
You guys didn't fold.
We did eventually.
Oh, it's a great story of the eastern suburbs, really, isn't it?
Well, people folding.
Yeah, well, no. Folding people into deck chairs.
Yeah,
It depends the way
right,
you want to
okay.
look at it. A couple of years younger, though, was Reni like sort of one of those like bullyish kind of older blokes that you sort of hung around during those days, or?
Not really.
Good
early
answer.
on.
Good answer,
Says the bully. You've done well.
Yeah, from early on, I always looked up to Ren.
Yeah.
He was like older brother to me. Growing up, my family, I didn't have much family. Like I had my mum and dad, my sister. My dad's side of the family wasn't really there. My mum side lived in Fiji. So, like footy that was my family, and Kensington was my team, and, Ren and his family were a big part of that. So under sevens onwards, we were a pretty good side. I think we ended up winning 10 premierships in a row.
What?
Undefeated.
From under.
That's pretty decent
Yeah.
for a young kid.
Has that record
17.
been beaten? It'd be up there.
Cam Murray and Keon reckon that they team won 11 or 12 or something.
Was they mascot?
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Don't believe
But
it.
yeah,
that's
from under
not a real
7s to
high.
16s, we won 10 comps. And, from there I went to South, where I didn't win much after that.
I was
early
about
on.
to say, was your expectations this is the way my life's going to be?
Yeah, that's what I thought. But so it was great times at Kenzo. Lifelong friends there and family, and it was a great upbringing in that club. Lots of good times, and like I said, it was just it was family for me too. So.
You spoke about Reni sort of being involved in that club as well too. Was there many other players that came through those 10 premierships that are playing or have played? Gone to NRL?
Yeah, Damon Alitovio, one of our best mates. He was probably the best junior player coming around in that era.
Yep.
Probably for most grades, he was had a big fend and strong. He used to be able to kick the ball dead off the kickoff every time, so we used to always be able to get it back, which was always good. But he was probably the most talented player I've seen come through the juniors for sure.
Yeah, Damo was special. He was one of those kids. He was playing A grade when he was like 15 with his dad. His dad Scruff was playing for Kenzo A grade back then. There was my brother who didn't make it to first grade. He played reserve grade.
He was a really good player.
Yeah,
too.
but they were the three stooges was Sutto, my brother, and Damo. They were special players coming through. They had a good older brother in myself looking after him. Just showing them the ropes. And everything they learnt, they took it onto the first grade field.
Wow, you'd be the last person I'd say.
Well, he did good early on, but growing up down the beach, when you get to your teens,
It's a bit rough around the edge. I made my way back.
Because you were sort of around like in that Bra Boy sort of crew as well too, like massive surfer, and I think you spoke about your mum yanking you out of Maroubra Hotel, which I think all of you.
I think both of our mums did that.
Yeah,
Many a time.
couple of times.
Ever at the same time?
Nah,
Possibly.
Well, maybe. Who knows?
Maybe.
Yeah.
What was it like growing up in Maroubra for you?
It was the best. It was the best time ever. My parents used to always take me down the beach when I was a young fella, ride the boogie board and stuff. Yeah. But I think when Reni started surfing, me and Leiden were like, fuck, we need to get a board too. And I think we both got a board on Chrissy Day and we went for a paddle. And then ever since then, I think it was starting year 7, and I just fell in love with surfing. I was always in the water, and I'm still today always in the water. I just love surfing and just love being out there.
I think Stacey put up a video recently, and it was when we had like the torrential rain. It was blowing a gale, and it was you just zipping up your wetty. She's just like, this madman still going out again. So it must be such a good padding for you just to go out.
Yeah, well, that's the best time. No one's out there then. Yeah, I just love being in the water, just sitting out the back and just cruising, talking with the boys and having a good time out there. So.
Who's a better surfer, you or Ren?
Unfortunately, it kills me.
I know, I was going to say
when I'm back in the water and we have a healthy competition, I just can't get close to him. I'm like, I just see him out there doing these big turns. I'm like, fuck, I'm going to have to be better. But the excuse I make is I played in the back row, he played in the half, so my body's a bit more beat up.
Oh, the excuse is already coming out.
No, he surfs really good. He surfs unreal, actually. And out of all the footy players that surf, Sutto would be the best by far.
Who'd be on your podium if Sutto's at top?
I'd have Gasnier up there. I'd have Sut. Joey's good. He's just a little bit awkward on the board.
Is that because he's just so stiff?
So stocky.
I heard Harry Grant's really good.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
So I'd like to have a heat with Harry. That'd be good.
Well, because I think they went down to that Melbourne surf park and they were meant to be doing, I think it was a Fox special or something, but Harry had just done his knee the week before and he was on the sideline just getting interviewed. You could just see he was like itching and chomping at the bit to be in the water. I felt so bad for him.
He surfs really good. I've seen him like do airs and stuff. So I think we need to get a NRL surfing competition together. Chris Heinington can surf.
Yes.
He actually got lessons.
Did he?
He got lessons from Blake Thornton. I was actually, if you can tell
there's a backstory behind this.
Yeah, I don't like to tell it because we're out one night. Blake Thornton, he used to be he was on the WSL. He competed at a high level. And Sutto was going up to Blake going, tell us who the best three are. Who's the best three? And he said, who's the best? And he put me at fourth. And I was fucking...
It was me, Joey,
then Heinington. And then me.
Yeah.
And I was like, I kept going up to Blake, are you sure I'm fourth? Like, surely. It's like, that's our only...
Ever since then.
True. That's our form of competition now, is in the water.
Yeah. But that's fair, though. I like it because you always talk about the fastest 100 metre, like to love to see the fastest footy player, right? There's the mad dash. But this surf comp, I think, has got some legs.
Yeah, we've got to take it to Urban Surf at Homebush. They've got to host it.
Well, they are. That open soon. Yeah. So if you're listening, sponsor, we'll get it rough up and running and get you guys...
We're there on the 14th of June for my birthday, but if they want to give it to us for free, that'd be great.
All right, special shout out. 14th of June, special birthday, maybe a live broadcast from there. That could work.
That'd be good.
Who else would be in there? So, because Harry's going to be playing, potentially Origin. So you're not going to be able to use current.
Toby
We've
Rudolph.
had Toby in the water. He's been but he hasn't surfed for a while. So.
Yeah, we got Mark Matthews, but he's only got one leg.
Well,
so he still surfs better than us. Old Chalk Bones.
Yeah.
Shout out to Chalk.
But he's an actual professional surfer. I'm talking like former footy players.
Yeah, but he's only got one leg. Like, he's had so many injuries.
Okay.
And he still surfs better than us. Old peg leg Chalk.
What about that? Because it took you guys a while, although you sort of grew up playing footy together, to play side by side between each other. It was like far and few in between. I think it was Prime Ministers.
Ren's 2 years older than me, so...
Yeah.
You
only play the same age group the whole way through?
He was always a couple of years older.
Yeah.
And then by the time he got to Flegg, we didn't have a first grade team. So he sort of, went to the Bulldogs and I hung around. So we didn't get the chance.
But we did play one game together, PNG.
Yeah, that was a great trip too.
Talk us through the build-up, the bonding session down at Bondi Hotel.
Oh, it was my first sort of rep team.
Yeah.
We all went for a feed down there to No Names. I think a few of the boys went home with Mal and then a few stayed out.
All the leaders went home?
I'm guessing stayed out.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, we didn't have a choice. Craig Gower was in the team.
He was my roomie, actually, so,
And he pretty much said, Sut, what are we doing? Sut was 18 or 19, like a kid, baby. Baby of the truth. And it was like myself, obviously Sut, Gowie.
Was Birdie in this team?
No Birdie.
Rico.
There was Rico, Amos Roberts, Brett Finch, Gids, Nudo.
Yeah.
So we had a pretty wild crew.
It
was a pretty wild crew. Yeah. So we had a good night. And it's a funny thing with, like, when you've just come together as a side and you don't know these players, you genuinely are oblivious to everything that's going on around you.
Yeah.
It's just a proper bonding session, and you feel like you've known these guys for a long time. By the morning when you're waking up, you're best mates. Like,
I thought you were going to say lose my number.
This was before we even went on tour. So.
Yeah.
Well, I lost my room key and I was sleeping out the front, and Gowie actually come home and was like, "Come on, young fella, we've got to go to the bus." So I quickly got up, had a shower and got on.
So we get on the bus. So we're on the bus, and I'm like, older brother, like, "Where's John? Like, where is he?" He'd missed breakfast, but I knew he was upstairs packing his stuff, and everyone's on the bus. And I think Mal even said to me, "Yeah, where's Hutto?" And I'm like, "Yeah, he's coming." You see this big 6'4" kid with a bacon egg roll in his hair, just tomato sauce and egg yolk coming down his face, drags his bag over to the bus and just throws it under, then gets on the bus. And everyone's just looking at him to go, "This kid's special." That was the start of the trip.
I had a great time. It was a great start to the trip. Obviously going over the PNG with the boys, it was a great experience. My dad actually came with his mates.
Oh, awesome.
So, it was special to have my dad over there. I just seen some photos the other day, 20 years ago. So
we're getting old.
Yeah. No, that meant a lot
Yeah.
to both of us, like growing up together and being Kenzo juniors and at the start of our NRL careers, and then we're getting picked in Australian teams. Like the Prime Minister's thing, the concept was new. It might have been the first year.
It was the first one.
It was the first one.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, so being picked alongside with essentially my little brother and his dad being there and going over there, it was special. Plenty of laughs.
Yeah.
Plenty of laughs. So it was...
some beetle nut. And,
Oh, you tried the beetle nut?
yeah, I had a crack at it.
Didn't you spew everywhere?
I was like, nah.
That wasn't you. That could have been someone else. No,
I had to give it a go. It was,
we were just like two little kids because,
you're soaking
Mao
a dollar.
Meninga, everyone calls him Smell My Finger, right?
Yeah.
And then it went from Smell My Finger to Smellma. And then Sutton and I just had this inside joke, and it's just like it's a Maroubra thing. I think it's a Waxy thing where you just abbreviate the Smellma to Smellos. And then every time I'd hear, "Hey, Smellos," and I'd look around and Sutton and I'd be just giggling because we knew what the joke was. And it wasn't until the end of the trip, me and Sutton sitting there giggling, going, "Smellos, Smellos." And Brad Fittler turns to us and goes, "I know who you're talking about. This is after 3-4 days. You know he's bashed people for calling him Smellma." So I toned down with the Smellos.
There's no more.
I was like, "Well, you could have told me at the start of the trip."
Maybe that was Freddie's initiation for you guys.
Yeah, it was. I never called him Smellos again.
Yeah.
Until this podcast.
And we're now
Sorry,
officially
Smellos.
cancelled. Who were some of the other players on that trip? Like you spoke about Gowie being your roommate, being an 18-year-old. Freddie was on the bus. Who else was were you in awe of in playing in that sort of age group?
Steve Price was on that trip. Shukovsky.
Yeah, Clinton was there. To be honest, I just remember just having fun, just being able to throw the ball around with those fellas and getting some game time. And I remember coming on and they hit hard, and one of them just went boom straight on my knee and just like corked me right above the knee, and I was just like, nah, it's like the worst place you can get a cork. But I enjoyed it. Like I said, my dad was there, so I was it was a special thing to have my dad and playing alongside Ren. So
after the game, like you're in a compound.
Yeah.
We can cut this story, but
yeah.
So you're in a compound and they had a casino in there. So you can't leave the compound, obviously.
Yeah.
But then the whole perimeter of the compound is covered, swarming with kummels. They're just so happy to see you.
Yeah.
And Luke Rickettson's like the senior player of the group, and he just loves Sut. Loved him. Like he was just in awe of him, like just how free-spirited he was and how good he played. And so we're all having a team bonding session down in this casino, and Luke Ricketson gets up and says his speech, and then by the end of the speech he's like, "And the man of the trip, John Sutton." The whole everyone just starts going mad. So Sutton gets up, lights a ciggy, just has the biggest drag of his dart. And Mal Meninga's going, "John, put that out of your mouth." Then he sculls a bourbon. and then blows the smoke out again. And everyone's like, yes, Sado.
I think I did it a couple of times before, and Rico loved it.
Yeah.
So it was like, like he wanted me to do it again in front of everyone. So I was just like, let's go.
It was a cool card and it was the morale booster.
Yeah, it was a good time.
Smellos wasn't happy.
You called it again. We're definitely getting cancelled. Because PNG, like I went over there for the Pac Champs at the end of last year, and it's still just as wild and same with the compounds and whatnot that are there. Knowing what the fans are like and what you guys played in, and to think that there's going to be potentially a PNG side coming into the NRL, does that excite you? Does it?
Yeah, it does for me, because I spend a lot of time in Papua New Guinea.
Yeah.
I've been over at least 6 times now, but we do charity work with the Bulldogs up in Kavieng, right up in New Ireland. I love it.
Yeah.
I fell in love with the place straight off the bat. To see how much rugby league means to them, it's a religion.
Yeah.
You know, they just love it. They love it. I feel safe there. The
Yeah.
first time I went without security, we caught a cab down to this new stadium to watch PNG Wales, and the guy was like, "I can't get any closer. You guys are going to have to get out of the cab here," and we were still like 3-4 blocks away. And the crowd just they knew who we were, but they were sweet.
Yeah.
And then the police came over, they got their big guns and everything. But at the core of it, they're massive rugby league fans. They just love their footy. They deserve a team.
Yeah.
I don't know where that side might be based. They'd probably be based up in North Queensland, wouldn't they?
Yeah, I think there's a bit of talk about Cairns, maybe, like up that sort of that way in transport. But I think there was last chat, there was even talk about paying danger money to some of the players, or I think Wayne Bennett even came up with maybe build a full compound where there's medical, there's schools and families and that, and can sort of sit in there and feel safe. But
Do you remember the bus trips? The bus trip to the stadium?
Yes. Yeah, they were crazy. You know, just like having people trying to touch you, and the security guys like with bats, like smashing their hands, and they'll get hit, and then they're like still waiting, and they're just hurting. You can see the pain, but just like still smiling. I'm just like, wow.
because they're just so stoked to see you guys, and it's just so
It's a special
wild.
place.
Yeah, I think there's a beautiful part that can be captured, and like that passion for rugby league, like they would just dominate. I think Birdie was on a couple of weeks ago, and someone wrote a comment under one of our Instagram reels, like they're too like their violence or the games, because they were talking about the tear gas, and he's like, well, why would you take an NRL club there? They don't get it. And Birdie's like, that's exactly why you take it there, because they do get it. They're so passionate about it.
The waves are good there, Ren.
The waves are good. Yeah. The waves are good.
Are they?
Yeah, right up at north where I was. Sharp. You'd love it. So yeah, got to surf over there.
Well, you're in coaching now, Sado, so maybe PNG's on the future.
Yeah, on the cards.
What about life with you, with your footy, over 300 games, one club man? There's only like 14, 15 of you, I think, that have clocked that up as a one club player. What did it mean for you to stay with the club wholly and solely for your whole career?
Yeah, for me, it's just been home. Like, I just love the place. You know, growing up in the area, you know, my whole life. My family's here. You know, I surf in Maroubra. Like it's just home, and being able to play for South my whole career has just been special. You know, I've never wanted to leave. I've always wanted to play at South, and you know, always the main factor was to win the Premiership.
Yeah.
That was all my main goal. Was, you know, get a Premiership for South, and you know, I was lucky enough to captain the team, which is still crazy to me. Yeah, and it was special. But you know, like, yeah, I've made a career being able to do what I love, and you know, I think I was 17. My dad got me a job, and I didn't show up. You know, partying a little bit and all that stuff, and he's like a really quiet man. Doesn't say much, and he came out on Monday arvo, and I was still hungover, and he said, "Did you go to the job?" And I said, I haven't got out of bed. And you know, he lost it for the first time. I seen him really, really angry, and I thought, shit. And that's when I sort of thought, fuck, I got to start doing something with my life.
Yeah.
And the easiest way was to play football, because I loved it, you know what I mean? And it was probably around then I started thinking about, you know, really giving it a crack, you know, 17, 18. And I sort of was playing for the Coogee Wombats, and, you know, really doing much, but then I played a bit of flag and went from flag to reserve grade to first grade all in 1 year. So it all happened pretty quick. We weren't travelling that well at the time at South. We just got back into the comp sort of thing. So just to be there and be a part of that, like as a young fella, I was stoked. And
to be fair, you didn't show up to work even when you were on site. I used to work with him and his dad. Where's Sut? He could be hiding under the scaffold somewhere throwing rocks with my brother. But in those early days, Sut, at South, those early years when you guys were struggling, was there ever a point where you thought about leaving? Because I know other clubs were chasing you.
Yeah, well, there was definitely a few offers on the table to go elsewhere. But like I'm a homebody. Like I just loved where I was, and a lot of it had to do with my family was there and the surf. Like I got to be somewhere close to the water, and that keeps me happy. And,
Parramatta's not close enough to the water?
Nah.
Red said the waves were really good out in the little brown snake out there.
Yeah, but I'm a simple man, and as long as I got the water there, my family's there, I can pretty much do whatever. And it's happened to beat. The club I love is there as well. So it's just been a great ride. With footy, it's has its ups and downs, but the memories I've made and the friends I've made along the way, that's something really special to me. So.
You've mentioned your dad a couple of times, and there was a article that came out about, I think, when you maybe first signed with your manager was Steve. Was it Steve Gillies? Yeah. And your dad said that they had to come over, but they had to bring, the great beer of all time was a Crown Lager. Is that any truth?
Yeah, 6-pack of Crownies. I think Richo brought them over.
That was fancy beer back then.
Yeah, it was.
It was.
Yeah. Well, that was huge for me. I think it was my first contract. I signed a 4-year deal with South. So, I was really happy. My parents were really happy for me.
Yeah.
Growing up down the beach, it has its, there's a lot of things can lead you astray down there. It's always fun down there, but, growing up down there, drinking and stuff sometimes, it wasn't the best for me and has got me in trouble a few times. So, to be able to, get that contract really meant something to me and my family. So I was really proud of myself. And,
Did you go straight from high school into the first grade system? Or was it 1 year out?
So I didn't really finish school. I went to Marcellin 7, 8, 9. I didn't like it there. It was a bit too strict. So I ended up just...
It's very snickering coming from the peanut gallery.
It's very laid
right
back
now.
out to Messi.
Yeah, so... I bounced around a couple other schools, but it just wasn't for me. So that's when my dad started to get me some work and trying to work.
When you showed up,
But I just...
Oh, I don't know this. What kind of work was it?
What's that? Well, I got a job at Garlo's Pies.
Yeah.
And I worked there for a month. But I ended up breaking my leg. So I only...
What, at the pie shop?
Yeah. Slipped on a pie.
No, at Urco Oval, training at Urco Oval in the pothole. Back then. So Urco was that was our main training field, and it wasn't the best field at all. So but I bounced through a bit of scaffolding with Ren.
Yeah. $20 an hour we used to get.
That's not bad.
That's
15.
good back then.
Jeez.
His old Uncle Slut used to look after it.
A couple hundred cash on a Saturday. That was the one.
That's danger money for 15-year-olds.
I was broke by Sunday.
Yeah.
I was 15.
Start looking up scaffolding jobs now.
Yeah.
Your parents were like a massive influence on you, and you can see so much of them in you. How have they sort of placed, and also Stace as well too, how have they sort of helped mould you to who you are now?
Yeah, I think, my parents always supported me and my sister growing up. We played a lot of sport, rugby league, rugby union, we did nippers, athletics, like we did it all. And my parents used to drive us around everywhere, and, I owe a lot to them, for always pushing me into sport. Sometimes I didn't want to do things, but it was them, telling me to have a crack. And, when I come out of my skin a little bit, I started enjoying a lot of things that they put me into. And, I liked the nippers, but I didn't really like doing the swimming. That was the only thing. I hated swimming. I'd rather be in the water surfing. So, but I was very happy, growing up with all these good things. Great friends, great family, and they really did steer me in the right direction. But obviously,
Keep going.
yeah, growing up, down Maroubra, drinking and stuff like that. It sort of, took some direction away. But like I said, my family was always there to keep me on the straight and narrow, and they actually pushed me in the way to become a first grader. So, and then, meeting Stacey early on in my NRL days was, another blessing. We've been together for a long time now, and she is my rock. She has been there through it all with me, some tough times, and, we've got 2 great kids now. My daughter's 13. She's in high school now. So
she's going to bring you some trouble.
Yeah.
She looks like Stace. Yeah.
Yeah, and my son Ace, he's 8, going on 9. So, the kids are getting older, and I'm just really enjoying being a father and watching them grow up. So it's good.
What did you make of, you had some amazing characters on top of your family and Stacey as well too, come into your life in terms of coaching? I think it was 8 coaches I think you almost had at South. It's a lot, but obviously 300 games, a lot of time to sort of go through them. What were some of your favourite moments or your favourite coaches that you had during that period? So was it Sean McRae? He was my second coach. Arthur Catanius, he was the one who called me up the first grade. You obviously had a couple of other huge ones in there as well too. I know Wayne Bennett was quite fond of you. He famously said that he didn't have enough tats to hang out with you and your mates, the rough boys.
Yeah, I had Wayne the last year of my career. He was, it was great to play under Wayne. He's such a good people person, and the way he can get you up for a game and the players up for the game is amazing. And I used to jump out of my chair to go play for him on the weekend. Yeah. And obviously, I hung around running the blue shirt for him and watching him coach the team. So I learned a lot from Wayne. And
what is it about Wayne, John? John.
How serious do you just get in your leather chair?
I know, but what is it about Wayne? Everyone says that he's the best, but what are some of his characteristics? What is those defining moments that you go, this guy, I want to play for this guy?
I think just the way he talks here.
Yeah.
And he can just, he tells you everything that's very truthful, but that you need. And you want, if you understand that and believe what he's saying, and most people do, buy into that. It's powerful. And,
he sits up the back of the bus with the players as well?
Yeah, he's up the back. Yeah. He used to sit behind me.
That's so good.
Yeah, it's sick. Sick.
I just love how he's got 2 sides as well too. The front that you sort of see on the outside, but if you know him personally, he's just the most gentle, warm, funny bloke. He's so awesome to be around.
Yeah, definitely. I had some amazing coaches like Madge. He was a great coach for me. He really helped my career. I went through a period there where, we had the team, but we just weren't doing it. We missed the semis, I think 2010, 11, came 9th or something. But the team was there, and when Madge took over, he it was just a clean slate. He just wanted to see everyone train hard, and it just went from there. Everyone wanted to buy in. We had Sam and Greg, players that were ready to, do something for the club, and been around a few years. So obviously when he came in, we just worked hard. We went from 9th to the prelim, and then again made another prelim. And then, third time lucky was it all happened for us. And it was just a great ride. Madge told me very early on, he's like, what have you really done with your career yet? And I was just like,
ouch.
But I thought about it, and I used that motivation. Yeah. And a year down the line, he ended up making me captain, which was something I never thought I'd be. Yeah. I didn't want it. When he named 5 captains I said, I don't want to be one. I just didn't want to do it. I didn't want that, responsibility. But I think it really helped me with my leadership and just the way it helped me play the game.
What do you think about it at the time? You say you don't want the responsibility of that captaincy role, and then you sort of find yourself stepping into it. What are the probably biggest barriers as a player there's those people that are honest leaders that you could point at them and go, absolute leader. We saw you become a great one. But what stopped you? Like, what was your biggest barrier that you found? That
I probably just couldn't see it. I just couldn't see myself as that person, leading, But Madge, he seen it in me, and he just said, mate, the boys look up to you. They've got respect for you, I want you to captain the team. And I'm just like, a bit like that. But, once I had the captaincy, I loved it. Boys that were, willing to kill every weekend for the club. And for me, it was a team, unbelievable team we had for those few years. And, I was very honoured to be able to, win the comp there. And,
Because GI was a bit like that too, wasn't he? He didn't want to step into that leadership role. But again, one of those players that you...
It just happened, they just... Greg was... he's the best player I've ever seen, being able to give him the ball and seeing what he could do week in, week out, it's freakish. So, and obviously having Sam as well leading from the front, I just had great leaders around me, so it did make my job a lot easier.
Yeah. And Russell Crowe was obviously a big part of the history of South coming back into the competition, and he became a great friend of yours through that journey. What was it like? And I mean, having a movie star on your phone for one, and he's part of your mates. Yeah,
it was awesome. I remember in 2006 we weren't travelling too well. We only went 3 games that year. I don't know how he did it. I know how he did it. He rang Bomber and said, look, I need John Sutton for the next couple of days. His little Bomber said, all right, sweet, no worries. And then I was at training and he come pick us up in a limo. Russ picked us up in a limo, and Kobe and Joe Abbott were there, and we went to the airport and got a jet up to his farm up in the Coffs Harbour for the weekend.
So I'm like,
so I'm like, 20 years old, getting flown up by Russell to, go hang out on his farm. I was just freaking out. It was so good, and we rode 4-wheelers everywhere, and Russ tried to go through this lake and ended up all the way down the stream. So it was, it was an awesome experience to go up there and, have him showing us around. It's pretty crazy.
Did you ever get invited on any of the Russell Crowe trips?
I've been to his house.
Right.
So when I...
Leave the microphone alone, Reni.
Sorry, I'm just loading up for a story here. No, so 2008, I got sacked by the Dogs. But, and I was kind of in limbo, and I don't know, Russell got hold of my manager and he said, tell Ren to come around down the Finger Wharf. So we got there, we walked through this car park, and then this lift comes down and this lurch comes out of the elevator, this bloke in a tuxedo, and he's like, oh, come up, Russell's upstairs. We walk through, and I think he's bought every apartment on this one level.
Oh, wow.
So you come out, and then every sort of room had a different theme. I'm sure I saw a samurai statue, and
sounds like a different place.
It was just bizarre, I'm walking through, and then we go out into the balcony, and he had this table. It would have been 6 feet long, just a smorgasbord of seafood. Everything you want. I don't think there was anything left in the harbour. There was that much seafood on there. And he had Coronas in a bucket. So we're sitting there eating, and I'm just spinning out that I've got Russell Crowe in front of me, and I'm having a drink. And then he calls the butler over, or whatever he is, Lurch, and says, get the coupe ready. Get the Phantom ready. He called it the Phantom. And I was like, what the fuck's going on here? So we go back down the lift. Butler's got this purple coupe idling out the front of the lift. He's like, jump in.
Lurch said jump in or Crowe?
Crowe, he goes, get in. So Lurch gets out. And then I'm sitting in the car with him. He's just window down. He's showing me the personalised RC in the leather, in the print.
Yeah.
Just smacking a dart, driving through Redfern. And I'm just sitting in this coupe just going, what is going on here? And he goes, now close your eyes, Reni. And I'm like, what? And I go, all right. I'm closing my eyes and I can just hear this voice go, what colour jersey do you have on? I was just going, I don't know. And actually what I did, right, and I said to him, I was that nervous, I said, Reni just needs to do what is best for Reni. And he goes, He turned to me and goes, "Don't ever speak about yourself in the third person." I'm like, "Sorry, Russ." So then we go back to the back to his finger wharf, and then I signed with the Sharks.
And have you ever referred to yourself in the third person?
Never. I just was that nervous, and I was so embarrassed. Like, you just did that in front of the Gladiator? Like, are you fucking idiot? Marcus Aurelius? Marcus was
I've
fuming.
got secondhand embarrassment hearing that story.
I just was so nervous. I was like,
You were in character.
I was in character.
Did you ever make a fool of
God.
yourself like that in front of Russ?
No, I'm always too shy around Russ. It's good,
Yeah,
but, you know, he
it's
talks to you,
intimidating.
and like sometimes like he puts these voices on and stuff, and it's just like, shit, am I in a movie?
Where's the camera crew?
Did he ever do any sort of like, I mean, we've seen some of the most powerful motivational speeches in all the movies he's done, like Gladiator and Ally. Did he ever present himself like that to you guys, or moments like that to you?
Well, the Book of Feuds
Book
was
of
always
Feuds,
good. We used to, I think 2007 we took over, used to, well, early on, whatever team we were playing, he'll bring a book in full of talcum powder. And if it's the Roosters, he'll open up and blow it all
dust
away,
them.
and he'll read the history of the rivalry. So I thought that was awesome when he used to do that.
That's pretty cool.
His voice would just make it.
Yeah, so it was pretty cool. It was pretty cool when that stuff happened.
So he did that every game?
He did it a few times, and a few of the other players did it as well. Like I think Kitty did it. David Kidwell did it for the Warriors one time.
Not
Yeah,
the same.
it was pretty cool. It was pretty cool. Yeah.
And what about, like, you sort of finish with South, a club that gets booted, gets brought back in. You said you're going through a period where, you know, you didn't think you were captaincy material, and then now you've got a new ring on your finger in the Premiership.
Yeah.
What was that?
10-year reunion as well.
Yeah. So yeah, it was an awesome time. You know, being able to do that. Well, you know, the only team that's won in the last 50 years for South is still crazy to think, you know, like, but yeah, obviously, you know, not too long after that, you know, I ran into a bit of trouble. You know, I got arrested in America.
I will say that mugshot is probably the best mugshot I've ever seen.
It is a good one.
Have you ever seen, like, you know,
Yeah.
the golfer that just got arrested at the PGA, and then fans turned up and they already had his mug shirt printed on his T-shirt when he came out for tee off? Have the boys ever done that to you?
We tried to for his bucks.
Oh.
We couldn't get it made up in time.
But yeah, you know, obviously, you know, being on such a high, you know, 2 months later it was such a low.
Yeah.
You know, it was, you know, stupid on me for, you know, doing what I did, but
Talk us through grand final day though, Sut. Like
Yeah.
grand final day.
grand final day, that whole week leading up to it, how special that was for our area, and not winning. You know, obviously it had been so long since South had won a competition. I know I was on the field filming him when he was holding the trophy up because I was 18th man for the Dogs. My team's over there upset, and I've got my phone out filming Sut.
That
You
must
know,
have been surreal
It was
too.
unreal.
Yeah,
But
it was an amazing, you know, vibe, that whole final series. You know, I think we played Manly. We had a really good win, had the week off, and then got the Roosters in the prelim. I think on that Monday, Ren, me and you had a face-off.
Did
On
we?
the beach, remember?
Yeah.
You know, obviously he was playing with the Dogs at the time.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
First time I seen him, we both was like,
It was a
okay,
bit of a
we were just
face-off,
mucking
eh?
around. But yeah, it was, you know, all the flags were everywhere, all the people were buzzing. It was so good for the community and for the, you know, the area. I remember the whole week, the weather was mad as well. So it was just a good week. We prepped really well. And then, you know, just came around grand final day, and it was a very hot day. It was
Yeah.
super hot. And, you know, those 8 o'clock games. It was an 8 o'clock game, but it's just a long
Yeah,
day.
yeah.
You know, I hate, you know, those night games, you know, waiting around so long. But, you know, I remember the game so well. It was just it was a tough, you know, grinding game. I think we completed 18 of 19 sets in that first half, and, you know, Dogs were still there, and, you know, they scored first. And it took us to like around the 70th minute to, you know, break them. But yeah, that last 10 minutes, I remember just, you know, lapping it up a bit because we had that lead, and just, you know, soaking it all up and just looking around. I just couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
Yeah, some great memories from that night, and I was able to, spend some time with my daughter on the field. We got to, run around and play in the confetti. So like that was really special. But it was nothing like holding that trophy up.
Because there's so many players that have played the game, they've played at the highest level, Australia and New South Wales, Queensland, but have never been in a grand final moment and have yet let alone won one.
Yeah.
Did you ever think it was possible?
Well, definitely not the start of my career, but
not even after the 10 junior back-to-back premierships.
Well, yeah, I thought then, but then obviously went through a rough patch. But I think those few years we've got with Madge, like I think the belief over those first couple of years with him, really went through the team, and there was players in the team ready, to win one. Like Ben T was there. He needed he's been around. Greg, Sam, Adam. He was just coming through, so it was just there to be done, and it had to be done that year. You know? So very grateful to play, with them boys, and just to be able to hold that trophy up was just the best feeling ever.
There's some players that can remember games minute by minute, like inch by inch. Is there any moments in that game that really stick out as a highlight to you?
Probably the chip I put through for Renee. Like I was that close to scoring it, and he's come from and got it just before me. But I remember that moment. He ran to the side and I jumped the fence, and I was carrying on to the doggies' fans by myself. But it was just special that last 10 minutes. Like some, the boys scored some great tries, and just to be able to lap it up. I didn't actually see Sam crying on the ground, but he was, tearing up, and it was just a great feeling, great day, and it's lived me forever, that stuff.
Well, even Reggie the Rabbit, the famous mascot, and he's an absolute gem. He asked if it was okay if he could take his mascot head off for the game, and they let him, and it was like the only photo where he's sideline and you can see.
Charlie.
Charlie is one of the biggest legends. At Vegas they put him on the giant, what do you call it? The cable that goes straight to the main
stream. I did say that.
Wow. So they had a mascot race on the launch at the top. Flying Fox, that's the word I'm trying to use. How many hits have I had to the head? And they put him up there, and he finished, and he came back and he was in the green room, and he's popping a champagne. He goes, "That was the best day of my life."
He just turned 80 the other day too. He's still charging.
He's epic.
I had a beer with him the other day. I was into him about South, and he, "Fuck you, Reni. Fuck you." Sorry, Chica.
He's the best.
What was it like for you, Ren? Because your best mate, he's there winning a premiership. You're on the opposite end, 1/18th man, which would be hard enough. And then to also be sitting there watching your team not get the result as well.
It was the best result of a grand final that I could ask for. Yeah. If I won, great. Because he won, it meant just as much to me.
Yeah.
We've been family, friends, close since over 30 years, and this is a testament to Sut's character. He went through the shit.
Yeah.
And he never left. He stayed solid with South, and he believed that they would build a club around him. They built the club around him. And for him to go through all that period and go through all the tough times, I would have bailed. I would have ejected, looked for a stronger club, because he was good enough to go to any club in the competition.
Yeah.
To see him hold that trophy up, it was special. It was emotional. Like I said, my teammates were in one side. I've got my phone up, just filming him. I lost that phone, I think, that night. But
I don't have that vision. Yeah.
It meant a lot to not only to me, to my family as well. Mm-hmm. Clearly his family and the South community. It was just, the club was ready for a win. And, it was the best result that I could ask for.
It's crazy. 10 years, man. It's gone so quick, I reckon.
Yeah. Mine's 20 years.
Wow.
It doesn't even feel like it happened.
Yeah.
It just goes so quick.
Yeah.
But there's certain moments, when the bell went for me, I didn't believe that the game was over. I was like, nah, that ain't it.
Yeah.
Really? The game's over? Going back to Kenzo Oval or out Lapa from a 3-4-year-old to be on the biggest stage in front of your family, your friends, on television, fans, everything, and you're holding a trophy. You're you're part of that list now that have won a premiership. And like Sut said, it's something you'll never forget. And it's something no one could ever take away from you. And you can always look back and one day he'll give his grand final ring to his son or Pip or one of them. You know, it's a special moment.
Well, I mean, you've got that. You've got the 300-plus games, the one club men as well too. There's so many amazing achievements in there. And you spoke about Michael Maguire, obviously questioning you, saying, you know, are you worth playing in this era? What do you feel like when you look back now, what was probably the biggest key thing you learnt about yourself through that football career?
I think being disciplined. It's such a big thing, and you lose your way, but, you know, just trying to stay disciplined throughout those years. And, you know, everyone has their ups and downs. And as long as I used to always bring it back to just being disciplined and doing what I need to do, that's when I enjoyed my footy the most. You know, sometimes alcohol and, you know, that gets in the way of things and you lose focus. But, just when I was used to stay disciplined and I knew what I was doing and had my routine, things just happen a lot easier for yourself. You know?
And you go from having that routine and discipline and also guidelines, you turn up, you've got your clock on and clock out times as well too. How hard is it to then go from that, you know, so many years in the game to then hanging up the boots and what next?
Yeah, it's weird. You know, I did it for 16 years, like ever since I was like 19, like to 34. That's all I did was play football. And then once you retire, it was at the start it wasn't too bad. You know, it was I had a bit of time off, but you know, just when things get rolling around, I was missing that that adrenaline rush. You know, every week you get that. You know, you step across that white line and, you know, you're up and you're in it. And, you know, I miss that a lot. You know, obviously try to find other ways to help find that. But, yeah, it's still pretty weird now. Like, I've been nearly out of the game 5 years and I still miss that rush of being able to run out there with the boys and, you know, going to another place where you just can't go to anymore, you know.
You can't replicate it, can you?
No. So, you know, I do have probably the next best thing to it. Like, I'm running the blue shirt for South, which I love. You know, I'm still heavily involved in the club. I'm still around the team, which I love. And, you know, still being able to go on the field, you know, I feel very blessed as well to be able to be part of it. You know, I'm not playing, but I'm still, you know, heavily involved and I love it. You know, I see the struggles the players go through, and I've been there. And if I'm there to help in any way, and you know, that's what I want to do. And I just want to keep my coaching going at South. And who knows what could happen? But you know, I know the game inside and out at the club, so I just want to be there for as long as possible, doing my thing.
Would you do anything differently, knowing what you know now, going into retirement? Would you have?
Oh, definitely. You know, I would have, you know, got into something, you know, I probably liked, you know, just another, you know, career choice pathway. But, you know, the only thing I really like doing other than playing footy is surfing. So, I don't know, I might become a board maker or something. Shape some boards.
Yeah.
Something around surfing you'd be perfect for.
Yeah. I'd love that.
It's such a, it just hits you in the face.
Yeah.
And I tried to have loose conversations with John and Stace about what's coming.
Yeah.
It's you can give advice, but until you're in it, then you don't fully understand the magnitude of what's coming. Because as Sut said, being in a system for 16 years, you're told what to do, what to eat, where to be. You're spoon-fed essentially, not spoon-fed, but, you know, you've got this routine.
You've got structure.
You've got structure and then it's gone.
Yeah.
It's all of a sudden, it's all gone. So knowing what I know now, there was opportunities for me to do some study or look at something outside of rugby league. And you just think your career's going to last forever. You're like, I've got one more year. No, I'll put that off. My body's sore today. I'm not going to worry about that. So it's a tough transition. It's tough for anyone. You know, there's only a certain amount of people that can go into media or can go into coaching.
Yeah.
But yeah, as a young, the young players coming through, like if they love anything else, they should actually go for that for sure.
Yeah,
for sure. Because, that's good advice.
With footy these days, the game's getting so quick. You know, there's so many changeover plays these days.
Look at the injuries this year alone.
Who knows how long your career can last, and if they're doing something else, it's always good for them.
What's that adrenal part that you guys spoke about as well too? Like we speak about the structure a lot, that you guys miss that structure and sort of what to sort of do day in, day out. The adrenaline of Birdie was in here saying he misses the violence, which was like a really like hectic line to hear, but it's true. You miss the contact, like what your body has been physically trained for the whole time, and not to compare it with military or anything like that, but they're the same when they come back from their military trips. They struggle because they're used to this, and then they're still chasing that high to a degree of how to sort of get there. Do you feel like surfing is being able to give you some of that release as well too? I mean, you're sitting there talking about doing cutbacks and surfing big waves and whatnot. Like, does that give you?
That does give me, especially when it gets bit bigger.
Yeah.
That's when the
bigger the better.
Racing. Yeah. No, not bigger the better. I don't like it too big. But that sort of helps me with my getting the heart rate up and stuff. So
it scratches that itch.
Yeah. Because you've had to learn a lot about yourself in the last couple of years, and that sort of helped you come into the coaching, and that now then becomes the advice that you're able to help these younger blokes with. What's probably been the biggest lesson you've learned post footy? We've spoken about during footy. What's probably been the biggest post?
I think just being active and being out there. I think, when I first stopped playing, I was, down in the dumps. I didn't really want to do too many things, and it was draining all my energy, my family's energy. But, once it's just getting back out there and, just enjoying what I'm doing. And it's easy for me because I love football. I love South. And I enjoy coaching there, and, just want to be there forever. And, just keep doing that.
Could you ever see yourself being a head coach?
Not at the moment. I'm happy just to, keep working on my craft and I'm only 39. So who knows, maybe when I'm 50 or something, if I'm still hanging around, we'll see.
Do you find yourself with the 8 coaches that you've had in your time repeating something that they've said to you where you're just like, oh my God, I've taken that habit?
No, not really.
You know when you catch yourself saying something that your parents always used to say to you, and you're like, oh my God.
I'm becoming that person.
I just try to keep everything fun at training.
Yeah.
Just try to be lighthearted around the boys and just be myself and, keep doing that. So.
Well, it's still a big year for South and a big year in general. I mean, this could go absolutely anywhere this season at the moment, and I know you've still got a lot of work to do, and we won't delve into that too much, but we're really grateful for you coming on the show this week, and the career you had is nothing short of than amazing, and you should be really proud of that.
Awesome. Thank you, Renee.
Thank you, man.
Good on you, Samesi.
Thanks, Ren. Thanks, guys.
John.
Thanks, Ren.
Thanks, Ren.
Don't forget, like and subscribe. We are now also on Spotify, so check out the shows on there as well as YouTube if you want to watch the video version of it all. But we will be back next week with a new athlete and a new story to tell.